Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've been wanting to dive into the world of homemade sourdough bread, you're in the right place. So today I'm going to show you how to make your very own sourdough starter from scratch. It's simple. It just takes a little time and trust me, it's totally worth the wait. Let's get into it. Before we dive into the process, here are a few tips to make sure your sourdough starter is a success. Use filtered or non-chlorinated water as chlorine can slow down the yeast growth. Also make sure that your starter stays in a warm place, ideally around 21 to 24 degrees Celsius. If you need to take a break from baking, you can refrigerate your starter. Just remember to feed it at least once a week. So to start, all you'll need is two basic ingredients, flour and water. That's it. I'm using whole wheat to begin with, but feel free to experiment with other flours later. For this recipe, we're starting with 50 grams of water and 50 grams of flour. So our first step is to mix the ingredients. First, grab a clean jar or bowl and measure out 50 grams of flour, then measure 50 grams of water. Stir them together until it forms a thick paste. Don't worry if it's too thick or lumpy at first. It'll smooth out once the fermentation starts. Once it's mixed, cover it with a clean kitchen towel or loose-fitting lid. We want to allow some airflow in but keep the dust out. Then we'll set that aside at room temperature for 24 hours. So after 24 hours, you should start to see a few bubbles form. It doesn't necessarily start after 24 hours, it could happen later. That's because the wild yeast is starting to wake up. Now we need to feed it. So we'll discard half of our sourdough starter and we'll add 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water. And then after we've mixed it, we'll put it aside and we'll repeat this for 5 to 7 days. I'll take you through the process. I'll show you how I do it every day. And then I'll show you again once the starter starts to bubble up and become active. And today is day 4. Look at those beautiful bubbles it's forming. It's really starting to develop. So let's discard half of it and add another 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water and let it sit another 24 hours. So you can see today is day 5. Look at all the bubbles. You can see that it's risen up to there last night and it's busy going down again. But look at all those beautiful bubbles on day 5. And I can already smell a lovely sourdough yeasty smell. So it's definitely developing, it's doing its thing. We're almost there. Okay. I've just fed my starter, just cleaning down the sides of my jar. And just to see how it's progressing, I'm placing an elastic band to where the sourdough starter ends, just so we can track what it's doing. And tomorrow morning I'll show you if there was any rise. So the next step for today is to discard half of our sourdough again and then add 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water. And for interest's sake, let's do the floating test and see how far it's developed. Just take a little bit of this and put it in some water. And if it's floating, it's actually ready to use. But I'm going to feed it another day or two. We did our floating test. It's floating. Look at that. I'm feeding my starter with whole wheat flour, but you can use any wheat flour. You can use all-purpose flour. In South Africa, we use cake flour. There's no specific, you can use any wheat flour. Whatever works out for you. If one flour is not available, you can use a new flour, you can change it. But keep in mind, if you go from one flour to the next, your starter might go into shock. It'll just need 2 or 3 feeds to adjust. And my starter smells delicious. It smells like a sourdough starter. And the discard, any discard that you get rid of during establishing your starter, you can throw away. Don't use this. We're not using this discard. After your starter is nice and bubbly and established, we can keep that discard separate in a bowl, and then you can use that to bake discard recipes, and it's actually delicious. And just tidy it up to keep our bottle nice and clean. So we're on day 7, and I'm discarding half of my sourdough starter. So there's my elastic. I'm taking half of that off. And then again, I'm adding 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water. So we'll continue discarding and feeding our starter until it continuously rises or doubles every day for a few days. So I just wanted to show you, this is my new starter versus my old starter. So the old starter is about 2 years old, and this is the one on the left, the whole wheat one. I'm actually now feeding and growing, starting for this video to show you how to grow your own starter. Hopefully soon the whole wheat starter will be as strong as my old one. It's been 14 days and our starter is beautiful. I'm going to use it today to bake something. So remember, you can use your sourdough discard from day 7. As soon as your starter is active, your discard can be used. You don't have to throw it away anymore. Have a look on the internet for some sourdough discard recipes. There's a lot on YouTube as well. And I'll also be loading quite a few in the next while, seeing that all of you will now have your own sourdough starter. So let's bake with this one. This bubbly, beautiful discard is ready. I'll first bake with a new starter. I actually think she is perfect. What a beautiful job she's done. Our sourdough starter is officially ready.